I've just been going through like my old SoundCloud, and I've also found an old hard drive of like from one of my first ever laptops when I decided to like write music in like the digital format. I came from beat making. There was a huge grime and hip hop culture thing going on in my local town, and and all the MCs and all the rap artists, they all needed beats because the ones that they were ripping off YouTube, they were rubbish. And like back then, like YouTube was only uploaded in like 240p and it was compressed as fuck, so like quality of the songs that we were writing were absolutely horrendous. After just listening through some of that stuff, like I was kind of amazed that like this young lad from a mill town had basically come up with these musical ideas, and and he was collaborating with artists almost weekly. People were literally like queuing at my door literally to get in this makeshift shitty vocal booth where it was just basically like a bed sheet hung over a door. I just had this microphone actually that I'm still using, the Rode NT1. It's literally been with me everywhere. It wasn't a case of I was the best producer around by any means. It was just a case of it was all these artists had access to, and I was just like, yeah, I just love writing music and stuff like that. And I just got basically creative freedom. They were just like, they just wanted stuff to like MC and rap over, and they didn't bother what it sounded like. And so I was there trying to do this weird hybrid of pop and grime and drum and bass type shit. I'm not quite so sure what it was, but ended up creating like a small rap group that was basically just some of the people I work with on the regular basis. Like we just, we just created this little group, and I'd just come up with these little beat ideas and stuff like that. You'd get me singing like choruses and stuff. Thank fuck for auto-tune. We just write songs and stuff that weren't about, fucking knifing people and going around to people's houses and kicking the doors in and stealing their cars and all that.
Why do little bricks wanna talk shit about us? Cause I see them guys on the roads and they die for the walls and watch it grow. Why do little bricks wanna talk shit about us? Cause I see them guys on the roads and they die for the walls and watch it grow.
Just stop. Just stop it.
After all that like passed, I was at that point where I was kind of like, well, I played brass when I was a kid, and what could that do for me? And then I suddenly realized that like the strings and brass that were going into the beats I was writing, you're becoming really interested with those sounds, and they were becoming more prominent in all the things we're creating. So I was going further away from like electronic music, and I was going more into orchestral, and I didn't even realize at the time. And it was only when like I got Kontakt Komplete 6 or 5, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, I can't remember what number it was, and it had like a string section in it, and it had like brass and it had percussion and things like that, and I just had a bit of a dabble. Before I knew it, I was like, this kind of sounds like the stuff that Harry Gregson Williams did for Metal Gear Solid. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give that a go. So me 6 years ago was just like, yep, I'm gonna score Hollywood films, you know what I mean? I started ripping clips off YouTube that didn't have music in them, and I was just scoring them, and they all sounded absolutely horrendous, and the rest is history really. But the one thing I have realised is the fact that me getting to a point now where like I'm submitting to production libraries that could potentially get me gigs on, the next Marvel trailer, or potentially on a computer game, or even doing a film to some degree. It's all because of friends. Some friends, they push you along, and and all them MCs and people like that, they were constantly at my door knocking on, going, Rob, give me a beat. It was that constant like reassurance that what I was doing was good that just kept me writing, and it basically, I improved my craft naturally just through the act of play. It is important that we surround ourselves with creative people, because they all understand that language and that joy that you get from, just a few notes on your keyboard and all of a sudden it's you, you know what I mean? It was your idea that you just did, and we all seem to appreciate each other's worth and things like that. Especially in the media industry, it's I've noticed everyone's giving each other a leg up, you know what I mean? We're all helping each other, and like it's if someone goes up a level, it's like, oh, I've got a gig now and I'm gonna need a hand, and that's kind of what today's video is all about. It's this cycle of support within our industry, and the fact that, you know, you're not going to get it from producers, you're not going to get it from directors or anybody on the film side. You usually find it's the sound department, it's the music department and things like that, you know. They all understand and they know what you're going through, and it's good to get pally with these people. They might end up getting an opportunity and need you. It's that friendship, it's that trust. That's what's going to get you your foot in the door. You could be the next John Williams, but if some guy thinks you're a prick, he's not going to want to work with you. We only want to work with our friends. If you've got a day job now, if you were to start a company, how many people that you work with now would you actually like employ? It would be the ones that, you know, you go out for drinks with after work and things like that. It's your friends. That's the one like line that stays consistent through like any form of industry, really. One of the main things I get help with, like off my colleagues and stuff, is the people who've been around for at least 10-15 years. You know, they're making quite a decent living off music and stuff like that, so they get it, what it's like when they were starting off. They were scraping rice out the bowl. They understand what working for free is like. They understand that, you know, it's a sacrifice you sometimes make just to cultivate that relationship, and with that obviously there's no money. So I've noticed that I can call on help. I was recording some vocals not so long ago for a track that I was just doing for nostalgia purposes, and I couldn't quite work out what was wrong with this mix, and I posted up on one of the forums I'm in and I said, look, I can't understand what's going on with my vocal. Someone please just help me out if I send you an MP3. A friend of mine, Oscar from Sweden, he literally just said, look, send it over to me, I will have a look, I'll have a listen, and I'll see what I can come up with, and I'll give you like some notes and stuff. Now, he's a very, very busy composer. Like, I literally see on his Facebook page almost every single week, he's like doing like 7 tracks a day or some shit, and it's just like, he's just churning it out, you know. His work ethic is absolutely phenomenal. Not a lot of people know about him, which is absolutely baffling to me. There've been other instances where I've just asked for like someone to strip a vocal out of a song for me, because now RX has got this function where you can basically like strip out vocals and stuff, and most of the time it does a good job. That's how I get the acapellas for like my remix things that I do. It's one of those things, it all just goes on a tab. You know, the day that I actually finally meet Oscar, he's gonna be pissed as a fart. I owe him a few pints for taking time out of his day just to, like, you know, run something through for my passion projects. The whole point of this video was just basically me to just get off my chest that, you know, it's really important that we surround ourselves with our peers and things like that, because we'll all help each other and we should always help each other. There's been some stories I've heard of like composers absolutely shitting on other composers and things like that, and they're just dick people. That's not a true representation of like musicianship, you know what I mean? So if you're just starting out in like composing, all I can really say is just find other composers and just ask. How do you do that? Most people will tell you. It's not like it was like 20 years ago where people were like hiding like the signal chains and things like that. Like, it doesn't matter anymore because you can just buy it in a wave sale that comes every week. If you listen to a track and you just like, you know, I really like the sound of that, you know, you might like the sound of the strings or like a synth patch or something like that, just ask the person, just find the composer. And as long as you aren't being intrusive into their life and like, you know, trying to bug them all the time and things like that, well, they'll probably just tell you, oh, it's from this, you know, I did this to it, and you know what I mean? And then you're going to learn something for absolutely nothing, and it just keeps this cycle going. If you really like this video, it'd be really nice if you could give me a thumbs up, hit the bell icon, and remember, just go out there and just, you know, get involved with the composer community, because everybody is welcome. So until the next time, peace.